You know that feeling when you wake up in the morning and before you even get out of bed, your body is already telling you no? That stiffness in your hips, that tightness across your lower back, that sensation like your joints have been slowly filled with concrete overnight. You sit up and you feel it, every single day. Like your body is fighting you instead of working with you. That is not normal. And more importantly, that is not permanent. What I am about to show you is one of the most overlooked mobility drills that physically restores your body's ability to generate real power from the ground up. Not flexibility, not stretching, power. The kind you used to have when you could move freely without thinking twice about it. But before we get into the drill itself, I want you to understand something first. Because if you just learn the movement without understanding why your body lost this ability in the first place, you will do the drill for 3 days, feel slightly better, and then stop. And 6 months from now, you will be right back here wondering why nothing ever works long term. So stay with me here because this is where it gets really important. Here is what actually happened to your body. At some point in your life, maybe gradually, maybe after an injury, maybe just from years of sitting at a desk or carrying stress in your shoulders, your nervous system started making a very specific decision. It decided that certain ranges of motion were unsafe. Not painful necessarily, just unsafe. And so it quietly began restricting them. Your brain, which controls every muscle in your body, essentially put up walls around your movement. Little invisible fences that say, do not go there. And every time you tried to push through those fences with aggressive stretching or heavy training, your nervous system tightened those restrictions even more. It was protecting you. But the side effect is devastating. When those restrictions pile up, you stop being able to transfer force through your body efficiently. Your hips stop driving your stride. Your core stops stabilizing your spine. Your shoulders stop connecting to your torso. Everything becomes disconnected. And disconnected bodies are weak bodies. Disconnected bodies hurt. Disconnected bodies fatigue faster, recover slower, and feel 10 times older than they actually are. That nagging pain in your knee that never fully goes away. The lower back that flares up when you do anything remotely physical. The shoulder that just never feels quite right anymore. These are not isolated problems. They are symptoms of the same underlying disconnection. And no amount of foam rolling or static stretching is going to fix a nervous system problem. Now here is where I have to be completely honest with you. The reason most people never actually fix this is because they are solving the wrong problem. They are treating symptoms instead of restoring the fundamental pattern that makes your whole body work as one coordinated unit. That pattern is called the posterior chain loading sequence. And it is the difference between a body that feels powerful and a body that feels like it is barely holding together. Now, we actually have a full program linked down below in the description, and I want to mention it now because if you are someone who has been dealing with this for more than a few months, you genuinely do not want to wait much longer before getting a structured approach around this. The longer these movement patterns stay restricted, the more compensation patterns your body builds on top of them, and those layers become significantly harder to unravel. Most people who find that program say they wish they had started sooner. That is not a selling point. That is just what they consistently report. The link is there. You can decide for yourself. But right now, let us get into this drill. I want you to picture something with me for a moment. Picture a bridge, a real suspension bridge. The reason a suspension bridge can hold incredible weight and withstand enormous force is not because of any single cable. It is because every cable is connected to every other cable, and the tension is distributed perfectly across the entire structure. The moment one cable goes slack, the entire system compensates, and eventually something else snaps. Your body is that bridge, and this drill is how you retighten the cables. The drill is called the loaded hip hinge with reach, and it is simple enough that you can do it in your living room right now, no equipment required. Here is how you do it. Stand with your feet about hip-width apart. Soft bend in the knees. Now push your hips straight, back behind you like you are trying to touch the wall behind you with your glutes. Not bending down. Pushing back. Feel the difference. You should feel immediate tension load into the backs of your thighs, your hamstrings, and a gentle engagement through your lower back that feels like a stretch and stability at the same time. Now, while holding that hip hinge position, reach both arms forward and slightly downward toward the floor in front of you. Not all the way down. Just extend it out, and as you do that, gently drive your palms apart, as if you are trying to bend a metal bar in opposite directions. Feel your upper back fire. Feel your shoulder blades pull toward your spine. Feel your whole posterior chain from your heels to the back of your skull light up like a chain of lights connecting end to end. Hold for 3 seconds. Return to standing. That is 1 rep. Now here is what is actually happening in your nervous system during this movement. When you push the hips back and reach forward simultaneously, you create what is called reciprocal inhibition on the front of your body. The hip flexors, the chest, the anterior shoulder, all the muscles that have been chronically shortened from sitting, from stress posture, from daily life. They release, not because you stretch them, but because their opposing muscles finally activated with enough tension to signal that release. This is not a flexibility drill, this is a neurological reset. You are essentially reprogramming the communication pathways between your brain and your muscles, and when those pathways open back up, things start to shift very fast. Here is what shift actually looks like in real life. Picture standing up from a chair without bracing yourself on the armrests, just standing up because your body has the power to do that effortlessly. Picture carrying something heavy, groceries, luggage, anything, and not feeling your lower back immediately seize up in protest. Picture walking upstairs and actually feeling your glutes working, driving each step, instead of your knees bearing all the load and grinding with every single step. Picture playing with someone young, on the floor, getting up and down without that internal negotiation your body does now where it says, okay, if I do this, I am going to pay for it tomorrow. That is not a fantasy. That is what happens when your posterior chain reconnects. When your body stops fragmenting the load and starts distributing it the way it was designed to. But here is the part most people miss, and this is critical. One rep is not going to do it. The nervous system learns through repetition and progressive loading. The first time you do this drill, you are sending a message. The 10th time you do it, your nervous system starts believing the message. The 30th time, it begins rebuilding the movement map. And by the time you have done this consistently across several weeks with proper progression, the restrictions that took years to develop start dissolving. Not because you forced them, but because you made the environment safe enough for your brain to finally let go. This is the part where I want to address you directly because I know what you might be thinking right now. You are thinking you have tried things before. You are thinking you spent months being consistent and still ended up back where you started. Maybe you even worked with someone and felt better for a while and then life got busy and the progress faded and now you feel like your body just does not respond the way other people's bodies do. That is not a physical limitation. That is a programming limitation, and programming can be changed. The people who get real long-term results from this are not the people with the most discipline or the most time or the best genetics. They are the people who finally understood the correct sequence. Because you can be incredibly consistent with the wrong approach and get nowhere. And you can do far less work with the right approach and transform completely. Think about that for a moment. Think about what it would feel like 6 weeks from now if your morning routine no longer started with pain. If you could move through your day without constantly monitoring your body for warning signs, if you could trust your body again, not hope it holds together. Actually trust it. That trust is not built with one drill. It is built with a system, a progression, a sequence that speaks the language your nervous system understands. The drill you just learned is a starting point, a genuine starting point that will produce real results. But it is one piece of a much larger restoration process that, when done in the right order, creates a compounding effect where each week you feel noticeably more capable, more powerful, more like yourself than you did the week before. Most people will watch this video, try the drill a few times, feel better, and then slowly drift back to their patterns because there is nothing pulling them forward, no structure, no progression, no feedback loop. And 3 months from now, they will feel exactly the same as they do today, maybe worse. That does not have to be you. The program linked in the description below is built specifically around this kind of nervous system restoration and progressive posterior chain development. It takes exactly the principles you learned today and expands them into a full, structured sequence. People who go through it consistently report that the changes compound week over week in ways that genuinely surprise them. Not because it is complicated, but because it is finally the right approach done in the right order. If you have been dealing with this long enough, you already know that waiting has never made it better. It has only made the layers thicker and the path back longer. The link is there, the work is straightforward, and the person you want to feel like again is far closer than your body is currently letting you believe.